Lahaina, and welcome to Voices of Truth One-on-One with Hawaii's Future, brought to you by the Kewane Foundation. I'm Ehukekahu Cardwell, and here we are today on the island of Oahu, and wait until you see who we have on the show for you. So let's go on over here and meet her. Healani, aloha.
Aloha.
Healani Sonoda-Pale, did I see your name right?
Yes.
Wonderful. And
Yes.
Healani, tell us where we are today.
We're here at Kuli Park in Kuli Valley on the east side of Oahu, my hometown.
Beautiful place, beautiful morning
Thank you.
in Hawaii. So Healani, we wanted to have you on the show because we wanted to talk about a hot topic right now, which is tourism in Hawaii. And tourism has been around for decades, a long time. But there's a new era of tourism. It's become controversial, and people are looking at different ways of what it might look like in the future, yeah?
Right. They're trying to repackage tourism. So there's this whole effort right now to make it seem like, okay, tourism is different. We're going to decolonize tourism. We're going to repackage it, and we're going to make it more regenerative and do more of something called destination management. Literally what they're doing is they're putting money into communities, and the communities are the ones that are going to be hosting these tourists. These are nonprofits, and they're going to give these tourists an authentic experience in their communities. It's basically just they've changed their face over the last few years. You know, they've changed the color of the Hawaii Tourism Authority, but ultimately it's still the same industry, which is a very extractive, exploitive industry that has done almost as much damage as the U.S. military here in Hawaii. And it's been part of our economic, it's basically one of the two main economic industries in Hawaii. We have two industries here in Hawaii, unfortunately. It's just military, the military industrial complex, and tourism. And these two industries are probably the two worst industries any place could ever have as their two main industries.
So we got both.
And we got both. So tourism is really trying to repackage itself right now, and they're trying to make themselves look more aloha aina, where they're working in and with communities to give tourists a more authentic experience. They want tourists to make a pledge to our keiki to not do as much damage as they would, and so forth. Now, that's all very problematic because the very nature of tourism is oppressive. I mean, it's part of the colonial systems of power, and it's a colonial economic engine that feeds into the whole colonial and imperial agenda, which is to supplant the native and replace it with settlers. Tourism has been one of the main industries here in Hawaii since around the 1900s, around the turn of the century, right after the overthrow. I mean, they started selling Hawaii as paradise. And growing up here in Hawaii, we were programmed to think that we couldn't live without tourism here in Hawaii. We wouldn't have jobs, there wouldn't be money, we wouldn't even have the facilities and all the nice things that we have today if it wasn't for industries like tourism. It was so intertwined into not just our economic system, but our social and cultural system. We were basically told that tourism needed to be here. So when COVID happened and Hawaii shut down for over a year, we didn't see any tourists for barely, like maybe one or two, but barely any tourists. We're shut down. And we're in the middle of the ocean, so you literally got to fly here. You can't drive here, right? So we were shut down. Our beaches were empty. There were no lines in the stores, no traffic. The fish came back. The ocean was cleaner. Even the air was cleaner. And that's actually something that was brought up during COVID, was that because of less cars on the road, the air was technically cleaner. I mean, everything seems so much better. And it was unprecedented in that Native Hawaiians, Kanaka Maoli, and locals here were able to see Hawaii without tourists. And that was something we've never seen, ever. Growing up, that's all we've seen has been tourists. And so when we opened up again after COVID, tourism came back with a real vengeance. And tourism was, people began to see that, hey, we need to start reimagining a future without tourism now, and for the future and for our children. And then everything got more exacerbated with the Red Hill spill in November of 2021. And
the
now
water contamination.
the water contamination.
The drinking water contamination.
19,000 gallons of fuel spilled into Oahu's drinking water. And 93,000 people, residents here on Oahu, were poisoned. And we're still dealing with contaminated water, contaminated land because of Red Hill and the military presence here. So Oahu right now, we're going through a water crisis. We're being told to conserve our water. Our aquifer has been polluted, and we don't even know if that could ever be cleaned up, if that could be irreversible. And then in August of 2023, we had the Lahaina fires. So we're having these disasters, these crises that are happening here in Hawaii, and yet they're still trying to push tourists on us. So, and so it's even, I think even more so now, people in Hawaii have been waking up more and more about how detrimental tourism has been, not just for our land, Aina, but for our future. Hawaiians today are more aware of the need to protect our Aina and Vai, and the need to protect our natural resources, our ocean, our beaches, our sacred places. And so now, even more so, we're having more and more confrontations here in Hawaii between tourists and Hawaiians, Kanaka, even locals. So it's not just, Kanaka, even people that grew up here are seeing that, hey, these guys are not very respectful. They're coming here, they're on their vacation that they saved for I don't know how many months. And so they have this idea of privilege. They come here with this idea that they can do and say and go anywhere they want to here in Hawaii. And that's not the case. That shouldn't ever be the case. Right now, where Hawaiians are, where Kanaka Maoli are, in terms of the tourist industry, is I think we're all fed up. And we know that in the short-term benefits just are nothing compared to the long-term benefits, because the short-term benefits of tourism is that we get a paycheck, right? People can get, a paycheck cleaning hotel rooms or, being a concierge at a hotel. These are short-term. The long-term benefits, there are none, because the very nature of tourism is to take everything and commodify it, right? They commodify our culture, they commodify our language, they commodify our bodies, they commodify our land, our vai, our water. They commodify everything that to us is sacred. And that is unacceptable anymore. And I think I think there's just so much, in this whole what's going on here too, because the political consciousness of the Kanaka Maoli people since the 1960s have just risen.
Huge awakening.
Yes, a huge awakening of our people in terms of aloha aina, taking care of our aina, and seeing how important it is. We need to start thinking about how are we going to live here for the next 2,000 years? That's what we need to start thinking about. Kanaka Maoli have been here for 2,000 years. Now we need to start thinking about how are we going to live here? How are our children and our grandchildren going to live here? But because we have an industry like the tourist industry where there are no controls, there has never been an environmental assessment done of this industry or the impacts of tourists on our land, culture, and on our water. There's never been any kind of assessment, and there are no controls. How are we going to ensure that there will be enough water for our children and
How
our
do you
grandchildren?
sustain this?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, at one point we're going to have to choose. I mean, is it water for tourists or is it water for Kanaka? Because that's the crisis we're in right now. And it's about land too and housing. The housing crisis is actually coming as a result of this tourist industry. I mean, we have a housing crisis right now. We have thousands houseless. It's a real big issue. 40% of the houseless population in Hawaii are Kanaka Maoli, and we only make up 20% of the population, right? So we're overrepresented there. And the median price of a house is $1 million. Who can afford that?
Yeah.
Especially if you're working in the tourist industry where the pay isn't that great, right? Cleaning hotel rooms is not going to allow you.
It's not going to buy you $1 million house.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
I mean, any shack in Hawaii right now is $1 million, especially on Oahu.
Yeah.
So that, and so people are leaving,
Yeah.
right? Local people can't afford to live here. The only people that can afford to live here are people that are rich, that have, income. And so tourism feeds into that. What people come here, tourists come here and they see, oh, beautiful, it's a paradise, right? It's beautiful beaches, parks. The weather's always nice. It's always 70, 80, maybe 90 degrees sometimes. Beautiful breezes from the ocean. We got trade winds. And we can go to the beach every day of the week if we wanted to. So why not buy a second house here? And that's what's happened. We have empty homes. We have tens of thousands of empty homes. These are second homes of people who don't even live here. We have all these empty homes, but nobody's living in them. And if we took every single houseless person on this island and we put them in one of those empty homes, we would have thousands of empty homes still left.
Wouldn't have any houseless people anymore.
Yes.
Yes.
We wouldn't have a houseless crisis, right? We have these multinational corporations that are benefiting off of tourism and have been for decades. And Hawaiians were, even though we were the main attraction, right?
Yeah.
We were the objectified subject.
Yes.
We have never really benefited, in a way where colonizers and capitalists have benefited off of it.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing, is that all of the profits from tourism leave Hawaii. They're extracted from Hawaii. They don't stay here. So basically what the colonizers have done is come in and used Hawaii as a giant ATM machine, yeah?
Exactly. And this whole mythology around Hawaii is this paradise for you as a visitor to enjoy. And that's part of the whole colonial imagination. I mean, that's part of the U.S. Colonial agenda, right? They want people to come here. They want to objectify us and dehumanize us, because then it actually not just supports them economically, but it supports their agenda of supplanting us as the native and taking us and commodifying us. I mean, they're not just supplanting us, they're making money off of us.
Correct.
And then trying to push us out of our own homeland.
Yes.
This idea of paradise that has been sold to the world, of Hawaii being this paradise. It's really not a reflection of the reality.
It's a facade.
It's a facade, because Hawaiians here in Hawaii, for decades have had the worst health, socioeconomic statistics. We make up more than half of the people in jails and prisons. We are literally living paycheck to paycheck. We are overrepresented in the houseless population. We have low educational attainment. Our children are suffering in public schools, and have done so for decades. So our reality as the Kanaka, as the native people of this land, is one of struggle. It has been a struggle living here under colonial rule, under U.S. occupation. And even here in my own neighborhood, I've had to put myself on the line to protect traditional Hawaiian burials, to protect our iwi kupuna.
Ancestral bones.
Who else has to do that? Who else has to face arrest and harassment just to protect our burials? I mean, every day of life here in Hawaii as a Kanaka is a struggle. We face so much oppression on a daily basis. The damage that it does to our people and to our culture and to our way of life far outweighs any paycheck, you know? And that is kind of like what I'm trying to say here is, you know, I understand people need to make a living, and that's totally understandable, but this cannot be the end all. We lived here for 2,000 years sustainably. There was no pollution. We didn't even have a garbage dump.
Yeah.
I mean, we were able to sustain 1 million people here in Hawaii, and we were healthy. I mean, we had all our teeth. We were a thriving society before Captain Cook arrived in 1778, and then he brought diseases for which we had no immunity to, and that decimated our population. Our population went down to 40,000
From
around
1 million.
From 1 million down to 40,000. I think the low point was like the early 1900s, but now we're back up. We're almost up there. We're 600,000 strong. Most of our people live outside of Hawaii.
More Hawaiians live outside of Hawaii
than in
Hawaii.
If we just change the way we do business here in Hawaii. I mean, if you change the idea of what business is here in Hawaii and what economic development here in Hawaii is, there is a chance for us to have a Hawaii that is worth saving, you know? And that's literally what we're fighting for here in Hawaii. And we have all these different fronts, right? We have the sovereignty front. We have, you know, Hawaiian liberation and self-determination. We have the iwi kupuna. We have the waterfront. We have, you know, the land back front. So we have all of these things going on, all of these struggles going on, and it's all really to liberate our people, but we're fighting for a future, you know, and we cannot be the colonial way of doing business, the industries that the U.S. relies on, that Americans here in Hawaii rely on, is destroying Hawaii. It's destroying this place.
It's a system, it's a model that
It
just
cannot
doesn't
sustain.
work over
Yeah,
here.
it cannot go.
Yeah.
It
It sustains people that live in the United States.
Yes,
it
not
doesn't
people
sustain
here.
people here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we need to change that. And the only way to change that is to instill in our children and continue to instill in our children values, right? Values of protecting our water, of protecting our land, protecting our Hawaiian burials, protecting our natural resources, our forests. And protecting our ocean resources, our marine resources. It's these values of protecting aloha aina, of olai kawai, of malama kekai, and malamai naivi.
Taking care of the bones,
of the bones,
water,
the water,
land.
yeah.
Everything.
All of these values that are all traditional values are the values that's going to carry our children forward.
Hawaii is a unique place in the world.
Yeah.
And the Hawaiian culture has a lot of answers, has a lot of stuff to teach the rest of the world, especially the industrialized world. And it has a lot of the answers to problems that the industrialized world has been trying to solve but has not been able to. So how can we get people to come over here and interact in a way, or how do we set that up so we can teach the world what Hawaii has to offer, the core cultural values and things like that?
Oh, that's a hard question because we're still working on our people here. But I will say this. So I think it's important to support Hawaiian struggles here in Hawaii. If you come here, like if you're here already, be a good ally. Be someone that helps amplify the voices of Kanaka and our struggle to protect this land and this water and this beautiful place. Be that ally. Amplify our voices as much as possible. For myself, I always ask people not to come here. I don't think that it's a good time to come here, especially with all of the things we're dealing with here in Hawaii.
Right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And part of our culture is understanding how precious and finite resources here are, natural resources upon which life relies, upon which our life relies. We're in a point where I think we have to look at not just a change today, but a change for generations to come.
Yes.
And the only way to change that is to put Hawaiians back in charge of our own lands, of our own natural resources, to put Hawaiians back in charge of our own future and the future of our children. Because under the US system right now, currently, it's not working. Our future is being threatened.
It's working for the U.S.
It's working for the US,
It's
yes.
not working for Hawaiians in Hawaii.
Good point. Yeah, colonialism works for the colonists, but it doesn't. If we try to work within that colonial system and just move things around, it's not going to change the system. The system
Yes.
The
system is the problem.
the problem.
Is
Yeah.
the fundamental core problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when 1 million people live here like they do right now, 1.2 million people,
Right.
and having 10 million plus tourists come here a year,
Yeah.
that doesn't work. That
Yeah.
doesn't work. That's an invasion is what that is.
Yeah. And I just would say, we have so much to offer, yes, of the world. And, when we look at all of our great movements that have happened over the past years with the Mauna Kea, the standoff at Mauna Kea, and, how we were able to stop a multi-billion-dollar telescope from being built on that Mauna with aloha was incredible. We have always been a peaceful, non-violent people. And it's because of Queen Liliuokalani, the last ruler of Hawaii, that we are the way we are. She set down the standard for us, for kapua aloha, which is to stand with aloha, to stand with, without any hatred, but to stand with aloha for this land. And right now, we're not just, trying to, there's movements going on every island. Hawaii Island is Mauna Kea. Maui is, they're looking to protect Haleakala, which is another sacred Mauna. Kauai, the water source, Waialeale, and all of their ali'i lands at Coco Palms. There's so much going on every single island. And the way we have to struggle here today, it's all basically we're just trying to protect what we have now. But it's, again, our struggle is unsustainable as well, unless we start to think about changing the whole paradigm, right? We need to look not just at, okay, we need to protect this one place or spot. We need to look at protecting everyone in here. And
Sure.
And liberating not just our people, but all living things in Hawaii, our land, liberating our wai, liberating our water, our animals and plants, all of which are relatives to us because it's part of our cosmogonic genealogy. So we as Kanaka, the native indigenous peoples of this land, we are related to this land, to the water, to the animals, to the plants. And so for us, liberation is not just about us. It's about liberating our place and our non-human relatives. Our struggle and our various struggles to protect Mauna Kea, to protect Haleakala, to protect Kapukaki, Red Hill, to protect our water, to protect our burials. All of these struggles, we're not just doing it for us, we're doing it for everyone, not just our own children, but for everyone's children who plans to live here. And these are struggles to protect what we have now. It's not a struggle to say, and I will say this, it's always based in aloha. It's always based in love for this land, for this place. And that is really the hallmark of Hawaiian movement, is the aloha, the love. The way we move as a people has always been one of acceptance and aloha.
Yeah,
right?
It's because of a very fundamental principle, which is if we take care of the land, it takes care of us. If we take care of this place called Hawaii, Hawaii will take care of us, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where we got to leave it today. Mahalo, Healani, for being here on Voices of Truth and sharing your mana'o with us. It's been wonderful, and we would love to have you on
Thanks
again.
for having me. Really
Our pleasure.
appreciate it.
And mahalo to our viewers for joining Healani and me here today. Remember, you can watch us on the web at voicesoftruthtv.com, and you can like Voices of Truth One-on-One with Hawaii's Future on Facebook. I'm Ehuke Kahu Cardwell for the Kiwani Foundation, along with Healani here. And until next time, ahui ho!
Ahui ho.
Free Hawaii Broadcasting Network.